Hey everyone, welcome back. When Snap Arts is counting down to Christmas, that means every day until Christmas there'll be a new tutorial up on my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to get this candy cane queen look. I did a look like this almost exactly a year ago on my Instagram and people really liked it, so I decided to recreate it, throw a little spin on it. So I hope you enjoy and let's get started. After drawing in the design that I wanted with a white eyeliner pencil and a red lip liner, I'm filling in the sections that I want to be white with white face paint. The best method that I've found for drawing these strips is to place a rounded brush at the end of where I want the drip to be and pull straight upwards. After that, I'm connecting the drips and then filling in the rest of the area that I want to be white. It may take a couple coats of face paint before you end up with the color as opaque as you want it to be. After I'm finished with the top part, I'm moving on to the bottom. I'm following the same exact steps, except now you have the obstacle of the red lip liner. You want to avoid that. Think of when you're coloring in a coloring book and use that as your line. Once you have the white parts just how you want them, it's time to move on to the red. I'm literally following the same exact process for this. I'm starting by pulling upwards where I want the drips. This process also works well on the reverse. So when you're trying to get in between the drips and the white, you can place the brush right in between them and pull downward, and it'll create that nice shape and stick in your lines. I like to go through and outline everything and then go back in carefully and fill it in. Again, over some parts, especially where they're overlapping over the white, you'll need more layers to cover it up. Afterwards, if you find parts that you think need more drips, or if you want to correct stuff with the white, just keep going over it and filling in what you want until you're happy with what your drips look like. After that, you'll need to go in and do some shading. I'm starting on the underside of the white where it would cast a shadow onto my skin. You have to think in things in layers. The white closest to your hairline will be your upper layer, and your skin would be the bottom layer, so you want shadows in between each level to make it look the most realistic. So I'm adding shadows under each level onto where they would cast the shadow onto it. So I'm putting little shadows under the red part onto the white. I might not be explaining this well, but if you watch what I'm doing, you should be able to see what I mean. There's nothing casting a shadow onto that upper layer, but I still want a dimension in there, so I'm going in between the drips and adding a shadow there. This will make these drips seem more round and dimensional. I found that I was having trouble blending the eyeshadow on top of the face paint, so I went over the white sections with a white shadow and the red section with a red shadow. Now I'm going in with a pointed brush and getting in a little tighter and making those shadows darker. It took a couple different layers of different shadows and different darknesses for me to get a shadow that I really liked. The first time I did this look, I added the shading to the red and stopped there, but since I figured I'm redoing it, I should add something a little new to it, so I decided to add candy cane stripes into the red section. If you wanted to leave these out, that would definitely make the look a lot easier and it would still look pretty nice. I just thought, why not? It would also be easier to put the lines straight in and not curve them to the drips, but I figured since the candy cane was melting, the stripes wouldn't stay straight. So I decided to have fun with it, make it a little bit more whimsical. Just like I did for the white sections, I'm going under the white drips and adding in some shadow there. I'm also adding a highlight to the end of each of the red drips with a white eyeshadow. If you add shading to things, the highlight is what really brings it together and really makes it look three-dimensional. I'm also going in with just some plain white face paint again on a small brush and adding a more cartoony highlight to each of the drips. And now we are done with the forehead and it's time to move on down to the eyes. I'm starting by blending a red shadow into the crease. I'm going to use this as a transitional shade to blend on top of. I'm darkening up the outer V, gradually just patting on more shadow until I get an opacity that I like. I'm also going to pull that light red through onto the lid. I'm continuing to darken that outer V until it gets as dark as I would like. I'm switching between patting the color on and then blending it out with a fluffy brush. I'm adding a little bit of black in there, but be very careful with black, it's easy to get carried away. and then I'm blending that out thoroughly. You always want to add less than you think you need because you can always go back in and add more. I'm putting a highlight shade onto the inner corner and the inner third of my lid and under my brow bone. Pulling that red and that black down onto the lower lash line and then blending that out too. I noticed that one eye was looking more red than the other, so I went over it with a yellow shadow, and that helped cancel out some of the pink and bring forward that true red tone. Now I'm going in with a liner and making a quick wing on my eye. This doesn't have to be too precise on top because we're going to go over it again. Once you get that wing just how you want it, take a white face paint and start drawing white stripes above that. If you watched yesterday's video, this technique will be very familiar to you, except instead of putting it on the lower lash line, we're putting it above our eyeliner this time. I'm leaving about a 1/4 inch gap between each white section, so then I can go in with the red later. Now going in between each of those white sections, I'm adding the red. I'm also using this to kind of clean up those edges and make them a little bit more crisp. Continue doing this until you reach the end of your liner. Now that our eyeliner is all striped out, it's time to apply a couple coats of our favorite mascara. After that, I'm going in with a pair of falsies and applying that to my upper lash line. I'm trying to get these as close as I can because I don't want to cover up those candy cane stripes. Now on the waterline, I'm going in with NYX's Jumbo Eye Pencil in Cottage Cheese, and it's really just a very pretty pearlescent white. So I'm also going to add that to the inner corner and under the brow bone and blend that out with my finger. Now I'm going in with a liquid eyeliner pen and filling in my brows. This part will also help bring dimension into those drips because you don't want to cover up the drips. Leave the parts where they're covering your brow not filled in. I actually had to go in after this and fill in my brows with a black face paint because all of my eyeliners right now are dried up. I'm rounding the inner corner of my brow and then filling it in with the liner. Once you're happy with the way that your brows are looking, it's time to move on to the face. I'm going in with a light red blush pretty heavily and applying that down my cheekbones into the apple of my cheek. You can always smile to make the apples of your cheeks pop out, and that'll show you where to put it on too. I'm setting that with a red eyeshadow, the same one that we used on our eyes, and I'm gradually building up that color until it's as dark as I would like it to be. I decided I wanted everything on the cheeks to be red, so for the contours, I'm going in with a darker red, even more heavy-handedly, and defining out my cheekbones. Next, I'm using a white shadow to highlight and going over that with my normal illuminator. I'm also doing this down the center of my nose, on my cupid's bow, and on my chin. Taking that lighter red shade, I'm contouring my nose. I'm doing this just how I normally would in my everyday routine, just correcting the shape and making it seem a little straighter and more slender. I'm also segmenting off that little end part to make it a little round ball. I'm also going to take this contour shade into that little indent above my cupid's bow. My first thought was to go with red lips, because that's what I did last year when I did this look, but I figured this look was already way too red, so I decided to go with black to offset the eyebrows. I'm filling in the shape and slightly overdrawing my upper lip using my favorite black liquid lipstick from LA Splash. And that's it, you're all done. You are now an awesome candy cane queen, princess, whatever you want to be. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and remember to come back tomorrow for another tutorial. Bye!